Promised Consort Radahn is one of the toughest encounters in FromSoftware history. Lots of players are struggling with Shadow of the Erdtree's final fight, but Radahn is easier than he seems if you follow our tips. If you've made it this far in Shadow of the Erdtree, you've overcome some tremendous challenges, but nothing tests your skill like Radahn. For starters, you need as much health and defense as possible. In Radahn's second phase, his attacks have long combos that deal massive AoE holy damage. It's easy to get killed with a full health bar if you get caught by one of his combos, so it's imperative to go into the fight as tanky as possible. If you haven't already, respec to get 60 Vigor and 80 in whatever damage stat you've chosen. Wear your heaviest armour with the best resistance to slash damage and holy damage. For me, it was the Tree Sentinel set. You should also equip the Crimson Amber Medallion +3 for an extra 10% maximum health. I went into the fight with nearly 2,600 health, and that was enough to survive Radahn's combos, so you should do the same. Pair this with the best defense boosting talismans you have, the Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman and the Halig Drake Talisman to reduce your physical and holy damage taken by around 20%. You have one talisman slot left over to boost your build's damage, so use it wisely. It's important to note that Radahn is heavily weak to bleed, so if you're struggling, use a bleed weapon like the Red Bear Claw, Bloodhound's Fang, or Eleonora's Pole Blade. Bleed procs take off almost 10% of Radahn's health, so they're no joke. I managed to beat Radahn with the Red Bear Claw +10 and 80 strength, so I recommend you use a similar strategy. Lastly, before heading into the fight, make sure you collect as many Scadu fragments as you can. I beat Radahn at Scadu Blessing level 15, and he was still a big challenge, so try to get higher if you can. As soon as you enter the boss arena, Radahn launches himself at you with a corkscrew gravity attack, similar to the one he uses when he crashes down from the stars in Caelid. You don't have time to summon a spirit before Radahn lands, so watch him carefully and dodge at the last moment to avoid damage. There's a brief moment where you can call your spirit summons after he lands before he starts his combo, so be quick and prepare to dodge again. In his first phase, Radahn has a few attacks you need to worry about. His Maiden combo starts with a stomp, followed by a heavy slash, 2 quick slashes, then a huge vertical attack with both weapons that ends with a shockwave. Just keep in mind that Radahn sometimes only does 1 or 2 attacks from the combo, usually the first couple of sword sweeps instead of the whole thing. Radahn can change targets mid-combo, and often does, so keep this in mind if you have a spirit summons or friendly cooperator in the battle with you. It's easy to be caught off guard by a sword sweep when Radahn switches targets, especially if he does it lots of times during the fight. Lastly, Radahn has a powerful signature ability where he charges his weapons with lightning and slashes upward, then flies into the air, summons a load of magic boulders and pelts them at you from the sky. The initial slash is well telegraphed and easy to dodge, so roll away and start running. The boulders are fast moving projectiles, but as long as you keep sprinting, they won't hit you. Avoid Radahn's attacks and take advantage of the brief windows between them to deal chip damage. Keep the pressure on but play it safe until you get Radahn down to about 70% health, triggering the transition to phase 2. This is where things get intense. Miquella joins the fray, riding on Radahn's shoulders and enhancing his attacks with holy magic. As soon as the phase begins, Radahn raises his arms and begins casting a massive holy AoE attack that deals continuous ticking holy damage as long as you remain in its radius. As soon as Radahn starts casting this spell, sprint in one direction and don't stop until you're clear of the AoE. Then, run straight to Radahn and get a few hits in before he starts another attack. This is one of the hardest encounters in FromSoftware history, so the aim of the game is to get through phase 2 as quickly as possible. For the rest of the fight, Radahn's melee attacks summon Pillars of Light after a brief moment that deal holy damage unless you roll out of the way. The timing to dodge them is the same as in the first phase, but you also need to roll away after every attack and avoid lingering in the same spot for too long. Watch out for when Radahn charges forward and summons spirits to do sweeping melee attacks. He can attack multiple targets with this ability, so prepare to dodge, even if the boss isn't actively focusing you. Radahn also gains a grab attack in phase 2, but for me it didn't seem to do much. Miquella hugs you and promises you a 1,000-year voyage guided by compassion. I don't know what that means yet, but I'm sure we'll find out in a lore video soon. If you get hit by this grab attack, don't worry too much, just recompose yourself and prepare to start attacking again as soon as Miquella drops you. Continue unleashing hell on Radahn between attacks, keep the pressure up with bleed procs, and you'll get him down eventually. Try to push through when you get to the last 10 to 20% health. We made our character tanky for a reason, and you should be able to survive a couple of hits when you need to land the last few blows on Radahn.